So, welcome everybody to Money Medicine for the Mystical Woman Entrepreneur. And if you're not an entrepreneur, this content will probably be just as relevant for you. So, I'm really happy to be here with all of you and sharing this really potent stuff with you about the secrets, really, that like what's sort of behind the scenes, where we can't always see it, holding us back in our relationship to money. So this is a live encore. I did this. It's always a little different every time I do it. So I'm, kind of operating intuitively and sharing what feels most pertinent in the moment. Some of it will be repetitive if you were at the last one last week. Some of it will be a little different probably. And so I'm going to share some really valuable, and this will be experiential. I always want to give you an experience of how this can impact you, and we will do that today. And then I'm going to weave in a little bit of information about my Money and the Mother 6-week course coming up, starting in about 2 weeks or week and a half. And I'm going to give you a coupon because the early rate went away after the last money medicine workshop. But I'm going to give those of you who are here and who registered a coupon that will give you the early rate, including an option for the early rate with the pay plan until Sunday. So that's in the chat right now. Just FYI, put that there in case you have to leave early and you are interested. Either way, the content today will be impactful, will be very meaningful to you. It's important to me that as a standalone, even if you don't do another thing with me, this is valuable to you. So, I'm Michelle Atlas, as you may have guessed, for those I haven't met. And yeah, and so I'm going to just start by talking a little bit about how this whole how our relationship to money evolves into what we find our how we where we find ourselves. Oh, the link is not visible. Okay. That's weird. Okay, let me just grab that for you. It's not the first time that's happened, and I don't really get it. It's like um how the mysteries of the chat and how it comes and how these things come and go. But it'll just take 1 second, and I will throw that back in there, and then we will proceed onward and upward here. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that, Miriam. Okay, so uh, just 1 sec, everybody. Thanks for your patience. Okay. Um, Whoops. Okay, I do not know how that even could possibly happen, but it does. So, okay, here we go. Okay, there you go, right there. Let me know if you cannot see it still. That is the link for the course, and the two coupon codes are there. Okay. So I'm going to dive in and start by talking to you about how this relationship to money, how we find ourselves where we are as adults, with our money gifts and strengths and our money blind spots and struggles. So there are so many tips and tools out there, right? And there's so many, ways of understanding this and ways of understanding our psychology of money. But and I have worked with many, with myself and with the many amazing, brilliant, deep, creative women, primarily women and an occasional man entrepreneurs that I've worked with for over a decade to help all of us empower our relationship to money and break through to deeper levels of worthiness and empowerment in our relationship to our capacity to generate a generous income with our gifts. And I've had multiple personal money breakthroughs, massive money breakthroughs that brought me over a decade, that brought me from working myself into the ground and making a marginal income, 40 or $50,000 a year, no matter what I did, to a six-figure plus business that I have now and have had for many years, several years. And what I found is that it's an inner game. It's an inner game. And the subtleties of the inner journey are very interesting to try to impart to other people because each of our internal journeys will be somewhat unique. And while that is true, I will also say that with all of the different tools and practices I've done that have catalyzed authentic and really game-changing, again, my income doubled at one point several years ago and stayed that way, and then grew. With all the tools that have been very effective for me and my clients, I bumped into, much to my surprise, probably about a year and a half ago, another very tender and potent layer of the money empowerment journey that has to do with our very earliest relationship to our mother. And after all I've done, and I've been dedicated to my own transformation since I was about 13. You can imagine how long ago that was. And with all that I've done, I was shocked in a certain way to find myself deeply moved and deeply affected by this sort of lightning bolt of insight that I got while I was studying the large body now of evidence-based research on the impact of the relationship, particularly for women, but certainly for men as well, the impact of our relationship with our mother. I was really blown away to find myself deeply moved at a new level once again by the impact of my relationship with my very difficult mother upon my sense of self in this world and my sense of worthiness and capacity to create abundance. So, again, welcome to those who are just arriving and have just arrived. You'll get the replay, so you'll hear the first few things I said if you're just getting on board now. So, our relationship with our mother actually begins while we are in the womb, before we're born. And so that's pre-verbal, right? There are no words. But we are actually, and this is science. It's not just, new age fluff or spiritual wisdom. And I'm all for all of that as well. But this is science. There's a lot of evidence about all of this now available, that our mother's state, her nervous system, kind of becomes our nervous system when we're in the womb. Most importantly, her feelings about us, her feelings about having this baby. Did she want the baby? Does she want the baby? Was she surprised at her pregnancy with you? Is she anxious about having another child or having her first child or having a child at all? Um, is she anxious about being a parent? What's her own relationship to receiving, to abundance, to concepts like deservedness, selfishness, generosity? And how is her relationship to all of those areas of life impacting the way she's relating to her pregnancy and to this baby she's growing inside of her? We are profoundly affected. And so what happens is the way that we're affected is through sensation, because again, we are very pre-verbal, and she's not talking to us. If she was, she's not. We're not understanding the words. We're understanding the energetics of our experience, and so um, we have all kinds of sensations that go into our nervous system. And what happens is that depending upon, and what the research shows, and particularly the research of a therapist named Kelly McDaniel, is that there are three areas: how nurturing she was, how much guidance she later in life, when we're ready for guidance, can give us wise guidance, and how protective she is, right? And so if we end up falling anywhere on the continuum with our mothers of, maybe she was kind of nurturing but not very protective, or maybe she gave us a lot of wise guidance but not much nurturance, or maybe she didn't give us much of all three. When we fall anywhere on that mother deficit continuum, and it probably moves around also, we're going to we're going to take a big hit to our sense of worthiness and worth, because our mother's the very first person who teaches us about how worthy we are, right? About how much we're worth, really, at a very core level. And so later, obviously we're born. For the first 3 years of our lives, we are psychic sponges. We still don't have much language until about three. Developmentally is when language kicks in at three. And so we're still picking up, and we don't have filters. And that's the real powerful piece here is that everything goes in, good, bad, everything in between. We're just, it's going into our system. We don't know what will benefit. We don't have the capacity to discern what will benefit us, what's true, what's false, what we want to take on, what we don't want to take on. And so at about age 7 or 8, so all of that's going until about age 3. At age 3, language kicks in. Then we start to understand what she's saying to us and what she's saying to others that we're observing. And until about age 7 or 8, we are we're really internalizing a massive amount of what's being said. People are still arriving. Um, and 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 then at about 7 or 8, and maybe you've heard some of this is kind of basic neuroscience that's probably out there in the world of personal development, and you may have heard this before, but at about 7 or 8, a staggering percentage of 96% of what we've been told becomes goes into our subconscious and becomes the subconscious or unconscious drivers of our decisions. And so all the different feelings and sensations and messaging that we're hearing about our worth become the unconscious drivers of our of our money decisions. We convert feelings about our worthiness and our deservedness. How much permission do we have to shine brightly? How has our mother defined selfishness and generosity? How much have we been told that we deserve or don't deserve? There's so much to what have we been taught about what it's possible for us to achieve, right? And to have and experience in our lives. All of this comes from our mother, and it's most of it just is internalized as the gospel, as like truth without any questioning until we're much, much later, like now, right? So because so much of it hits this worthiness and personal worth area, it's inseparable from our relationship to money. It's also inseparable from our relationship to love and our sense of lovability. So that's why I always say, and in the work I do, the way we relate to money is almost identical to the way we relate to love. So we have some similar patterns I have found with money and with love, right? Avoidancy, anxiety, swinging between avoidant and anxious or secure. So what happens is that when we have had a deficit, as I just described, a mother deficit I'm going to repeat a little bit for the people that have just arrived in terms of either nurturance, protection, or wise guidance. When she fell short somewhere in there, um, we will develop what we call an insecure attachment style and so we will either be anxious when it comes to love and money. We will be avoidant, like, yeah, I'm not going to really look at my numbers. I'm not going to really, it'll be okay, whatever. Anxious as in like hoarding, counting every dime, checking our bank account multiple times a day or week, thinking that no matter how much we earn, how much we make, how hard we work, we will never have enough. Again, avoidant, very nonchalant. I don't really know how much I have. I think it's okay. And then you get fees you could have avoided because you had the money, but it was in the wrong account, or maybe you don't have it at all, but you spent it. Kind of money shouldn't matter attitude is the avoidant. Why does money have to matter so much, right? And then we've got the anxious avoidant, and these are the relationship attachment styles that have been studied by many that you hear most often spoken about with regard to love relationships. I'm converting these to money because they're the exact same thing. So then you've got the anxious avoidant swinging back and forth, overspending, and then getting really feeling ashamed, becoming anxious, and restricting oneself. And then you've got the secure attachment style, and that's the person that had quality mothering consistently. Inconsistency creates a very insecure attachment style. Maybe she was nurturing sometimes and not other times. Maybe she was unpredictable. Maybe she was attuned to certain things and completely checked out about other things. That will lead to one of the insecure attachment styles. But a secure attachment style means that we trust money. It's like we've befriended money. We feel like, well, if I work hard and I can enjoy some, I can spend some, I can save some, and I have the confidence that I can generate it when I need it. And it'll be there for me when I really need it because I'm doing all of those things, responsibly. I see it as a resource. I don't have a lot of judgment about my spending habits or anybody else's. That's the secure attachment style. About 50% of the population has a secure attachment style, and the other 50% has an insecure attachment style. So what happens is, in fact, I'm going to pause. This is a lot to take in, and I'm going to just pause for a moment and ask you to type into the chat a word or a phrase that characterizes your relationship to money right now. And it can be anything. Everything is welcome here. Just, tell me how you experience your relationship to money, not in the past and not even where you want to be, but right now. I'd love to hear that. I'll take a moment for it. Sometimes there's a delay with the chat. Insufficient, Kay says. Brutal, Jean. Desperation, Julia. Wow. Okay. Ruled, relaxed. Interesting. Notice the similarities and the diversity, the differentness. I'm always in debt no matter how much I earn, Caitlin. Yeah, I get it. You're not alone. No matter what you're experiencing, you're not alone. Pretty secure right now, Nancy says. Kathleen, not enough. Yeah. Yeah. All of this can, not more, another, not enough. Yeah. Not enough is a common. Um, Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, you can keep them coming. I'll come back to it again. I'm just going to point out to people that have arrived very recently that I did put a link twice, actually, and I'm hoping you can see it. That above a little bit here for the coupon code for the Money and the Mother 6-week course, which I'll share a little bit about towards the end of our time together if you want to take this journey deeper. So you can check there for it. Let me know if you don't see it. It comes and goes in the chat for some reason. But there is a coupon code because the early rate went away about a few days ago. So I'm giving it to those who are here again. Um, so yeah, and so all of these experiences that you're having, I want to just really stress they are mutable. They are not fixed. They are not forever. I am living proof of this, absolutely living proof, and so are so many of my clients, truly. How it changes, we all want to know how, right? What should I do? It's a combination of many things, but as I said when I first started, for those who weren't here right at the beginning, my experience over working with this with myself and others for over a decade and having many profound game-changing money breakthroughs myself that doubled my income and kept it there and beyond, and watching many people change their money stories is that it is truly primarily an inside job. It is truly a more subtle internal journey. Even though strategy and practical money hygiene, good money hygiene is important. It's two wings to the bird. But without the inner shifts, none of there's a million beautiful books out there by money gurus, intelligent, wonderful advice, one size fits all advice, which doesn't usually work. And it's also not going to be sustainable, even the simplest strategies if you've got these unconscious internal saboteurs. And what I'm saying here today is that our relationship with our mother, our earliest relationship with our mother, is the most potent, I believe after years of doing this and working with a lot of different amazing internal, um, you know, transformation catalyzing experiences and practices, I believe our relationship with our mother is the absolute core of all of these money difficulties because she is the first person that teaches us about our worth and our worthiness. And so what happens is that as we grow and evolve, and we become adults like we are now, the reason this gets so slippery, right? We're all really bright, really motivated people here, I'm sure. And so your skills, your talents, your gifts are not the problem ever. I have not met one person, one woman that came into my world that was not gifted, frankly. The problem is that when we go to expand our lives and our businesses, if you have one, or we go to even give ourselves something beautiful or beneficial, such as support or a new outfit or a vacation or anything that will, help our health, expand and increase our health and well-being. When we go to make a purchase, whether you tend to overspend or underspend, and they are equally significant issues. They both represent an insecure attachment style. What happens is that we begin to experience these sensations that that got into our system pre-verbally, as I was saying very early on for those who have joined, that, this begins in our mother's womb pre-verbally. When we don't have words, we have sensations. And so we're unaware then and we're unaware now when we go to expand and grow and evolve these sensations that if we had an anxious mother or an avoidant mother or a mother who didn't want the baby or a mother who was shocked or anxious about the baby, whatever it is, these sensations kick in as we go to do good things for ourselves, and we're not aware of what's happening. Maybe we've got the right empowering thoughts. Maybe we've got our back pocket full of great affirmations somebody else taught us. Or maybe we've got our back pocket filled with all the perfect tips and tools and strategies another money guru taught us. But meanwhile, we're having these sensations that are creating some sort of conflict or some sort of dis-ease, and they influence our decisions about what's possible for us to receive and then how much it's possible for us to create abundant lives and businesses and relationships. When we find ourselves repeating the same struggles over and over, no matter how hard we work, no matter what we listen to, how hard we try, it's because there's something subterranean operating here that we can't quite put our hand. We can't change what we can't see. And so, a big part of the work that we'll be doing in Money and the Mother is flipping the lights on, turning some floodlights on, all of this. Once it becomes conscious, you're very quickly in a position to make different decisions. When our decisions are driven by this unconscious material, or by fear, or by anxiety, or by avoidance, or by whatever, you're going to keep getting the same results. It's just a matter of, our lives are nothing more than the result of a million decisions. And if you're an entrepreneur like I am, every single day, I probably make over a dozen important, impactful decisions every single day about how I'm going to spend my time, what I'm going to invest my money in, which part of my business am I going to attend to or grow. The results that we receive are nothing more than the decisions we make, whether it's in love, our love relationships, whether it's in growing our business, whether it's in taking care of our health and well-being and happiness. All of this is profoundly influenced by our earliest relationship with our mother. Okay, so I'm going to just guide you now through a very beautiful, potent process. Um, Let me just pause again, though, first and ask if there are any questions about what I've shared so far. I've shared a lot. And if anybody have any questions, feel free to make comments. I may not be able to answer them all right now, but I'm certainly going to read them all. And I'd love to know, anybody want to say anything about what I've said so far before we dive into an experiential journey? Okay, I'm going to wait just a moment because there's a delay, but I'm assuming, um, and I'm going to, in case anyone needs to leave early and you can't see it, I'm going to once again put the coupon code for Money in the Mother in the chat because I don't want anybody to leave without it. It's a very beautiful 6 week journey at a very accessible price point. I wanted this to be an easy yes for anybody who's drawn. Let me just grab that real quickly again. Okay. Okay. Here's the coupon code. And if you can't see the other one, if you go to michelleatlas.com, you'll you'll see a tab for Money and the Mother. Okay, there you go. Just want you to have all that. Okay. Yeah. Now the mother component, I'm sorry, the mother component is fascinating. I am fascinated by it too. It's very real and and because it's such a profound journey, there's all of that in the chat. It's a very tender, very deep, beautiful journey because what we do in Money and the Mother is we become our own mother. Because as adults, and so all of this information, all of this knowing and learning and wisdom and insight that you're hearing, that you might receive yourself self from within, this is not intended to be worked out with your actual mother if she happens to be living. Mine is not no longer living and actually died quite young. This is intended to be worked out within you. This is about reclaiming authority for your own life and really becoming that which others couldn't, didn't, can't. There's nothing more powerful than your own love, and there's nothing more liberating and sovereignty instilling than becoming for yourself that which others cannot. Even when we have so our mothers were daughters too, right? Our mothers were children too, and they got their own conditioning. This is not a blame game at all, ever. There's no blame, but there's awareness. Awareness, whether you are a mother or whether you're coming at this as a daughter or both, probably, right? But it's not about your mother working it out with your mother. It's about reclaiming your own authority, right? To be the mother that you needed, to be the mother that you long for. I'll say a little bit more before we dive into our experience, because for people who have women in particular, but I think we might have some men with us today, and I really welcome you with all my heart and so glad you're here too. What happens is that when we've got a mother wound, it can take many different forms. One of the, and I've spoken to several already today, but one of the other ways that it manifests and expresses is in a low grade, a very subtle low grade sort of hole in your soul, is what I call it, meaning kind of a very subtle depressive feeling. Like there's just something kind of like way down deep when everything's quiet. There's not a lot of stimulation or a lot of responsibility where you end up just feeling kind of like an ugh, like it could be like a subtle sense of loneliness, I know for myself, I have experienced it as a subtle sense of despair for no reason. When everything in my life is just fine and dandy, right? These are on one level, this is sort of like a wound that doesn't heal, but and once you understand what it is, it becomes an asset. When we become our own mother, when we reclaim that authority, and when we learn how to nurture ourselves, protect ourselves, and trust our own wise guidance, which we probably didn't grow up trusting if she didn't trust herself or she didn't trust you. When we reclaim all of that, There's nothing more beautiful or fulfilling. And even when we reclaim it, if we have those moments of that sort of, again, where that wound was really deep, where it was like a deep, I know that, it can be experienced also as a grief, right? Like a sense of, again, when even if everything is fine, and certainly when everything is not fine, it will show up to kind of, I'll say, amplify your grief about something else or amplify sadness, something else. But even when things are fine, you might find yourself, going like, wow, what is that? Right? What is that low feeling? It's a mother wound a lot of the time. This is really potent stuff. And once you understand and begin to work with this, I've had people in my last year I created this course, Money and the Mother, last year. Real labor of love for me because I had a really crummy mother. That's another story. And it impacted so very much for me. So last year, 47 women from all over the world went through the Money and the Mother course. And, it's just magical watching what happens because, people began to kind of, without any more effort, attract new clients, began to kind of knock on their virtual door. Other people, achieved clarity about something that felt like it had been in the way their whole life that they didn't understand until now. Many beautiful things happened. That had to do with um, really interrupting this tendency to give our power away to other authorities, to other people, because that mirrors the mother-child relationship. And so once we start to cut that, and it's not cutting the love at all, but it's cutting the shame, it's cutting the self-abandonment patterns. It really changes. It can change everything. And again, I'll say I'm living proof. So let's just, I'm going to just check the chat for a moment here and before I help us dive into something. Okay. Um, yeah, thank you, Nancy. I'm glad to hear that. Um, and I don't see the They're there. Okay, so the coupon codes. Be sure you get the coupon code if you're interested in the course. And I'm going to put it in again later. Okay, and Kay is saying ancestors and mothers, we have both deserved to be acknowledged and honored. I feel I wouldn't be here without them. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we're not blaming, but we are part of this legacy. What we don't want is to be living blindly. We don't want to feel held back by something we can't see or change because we can see it and change it. So, for those who are in a place where you can now close your eyes, I'm going to guide you through a process. If you have a journal nearby, that's great. If you have a pad of paper nearby, that's great. Go ahead and close your eyes and just breathe for a moment. Just settle down. Yeah, just take a nice, beautiful breath all the way down into your lower back and your hips. And just let yourself really feel where whatever you're sitting on is holding you. Let yourself really drop. You've just taken in a lot of information as I've shared, and now we want you to kind of release your mind, let your mind get quiet. Don't worry about doing this right or what you'll receive or anything like that. Just let yourself relax and kind of hang back inside and allow yourself to be guided. Yeah. So as you continue to breathe and just feel how when you get quiet, your nervous system automatically, and when you go inside and there's no external stimuli, your nervous system starts to quiet down organically, starts to get real quiet. Just it'll sort of self-regulate. Yeah. And as you continue to breathe, bring to mind, if you can, if it comes easily, something that you wanted very much from your mothers, some sort of, again, either nurturance, protection, guidance, attention, attunement, something that was missing, that you longed for, that you didn't get enough of, or that you didn't get any of. Just, and we won't leave you here, so don't worry if this is painful. That's actually good. Pain is the portal, I always say. Pain is the portal to the next experience. When we don't feel our pain, we don't get anywhere. So just bringing to heart and mind something that was missing, a deficit, or a painful experience with your mother. Making sure you continue to breathe. And when you find that experience, when you feel those feelings, those emotions, try to locate where they exist, where they live in your body, that loss, that deficit. Where is it in your body? And place your hands on, if you can locate that in your body, place your hands on that place on your body and allow the warmth that will be generated by the gentle pressure of your own touch to feel like a form of support and nurturance. Usually we generate warmth even through clothing pretty quickly. Really feeling the sensation of that loss and noticing if it comes to you, what kind of self-beliefs have arisen out of that. What kind of meaning did you make of that loss? How did you internalize it? That's the problem. We make all sorts of meaning out of our mother losses, and they're always to our detriment. Notice what you've told yourself and notice the ways it's played out, potentially played out in your relationship to money, to your business, to your growth, to love, all of those important areas of life. Has it kept you holding back? Has it kept you not believing things are possible for yourself? Has it kept you feeling guilty or ashamed of your desires? Has it kept you feeling like you're not enough? And again, we're not going to leave you here, so you don't need to be afraid to feel these. These can be real big ouches. And again, it's essential. They're driving your experience. And if you don't feel them, they will continue to follow you around. It's through feeling them in facing them, that they begin to deconstruct. Just noticing breathing all the way down into your lower back and your hips. And now you want to locate your most beautiful, wise, loving self. You might do that by thinking of a beloved, someone that is something or someone that is beloved to you and how much you love them. It could be a pet, a child, a partner, something where your love, just flows to them effortlessly. And you want to direct that amazing, vibrant love that you possess towards yourself, towards that place in your body where you're holding that painful mother wound or that mother loss. So just really shower yourself in that place with your own love. See your love flowing to that place. Feel your own love flowing to that place. Imagine if that place was your own child, if you have a child, or if you don't, imagine it's your child and how much you'd want them to feel loved and give that part of you all your love. And now double that love that you're sending to yourself like a fire hose. Just really flood yourself with your own love for a moment, continuing to breathe all the way down into your lower back and your hips. Okay. And now imagine removing that painful spot, that painful energetic blob, or whatever that issue is, and just gently removing it from your being, from your body. You could imagine pulling up like a root ball from a garden, or you could imagine pulling out strands one by one, and you want to send it into one of the elements: fire, air, water, earth, or light. So you could send it into the fire and watch it just sizzle up, all kinds of sparks. You could bury it in the earth. You could let it go flowing out in a body of water. Whatever feels right to you. Breathing, making sure you're still breathing, relaxed, just sensing into all of this. Yeah. Okay. And now Just notice if there's one word that you, or a phrase, a short, very short, concise phrase that you'd like to take with you that feels like it gives you some relief around all that it would give you some relief around all this, should this surface when you are navigating life and these kinds of feelings, these sensations show up in limiting ways. Is there a word based on everything this journey we've been through today that will remind you of the truth of your value, of your worth, that feels authentic? Not, we don't slap affirmations on top of our pain. They don't, that doesn't work, but something that opens things for you, that kind of gives you genuine relief. Okay, beautiful. Taking one, two, or three more full breath cycles. Just bring yourself gently back and we can open our eyes and come back together. Okay, beautiful. Just going to take a look at everybody. Okay, everybody's got their camera off. Most people do. All right. So, comments, sharing, anything you'd like to express, just go ahead and put that in the chat. How was that for you? What did you connect with? Anything, you know, any bright spots, any particularly new awarenesses, anything you'd like to share? It would be lovely to hear from at least a couple of you in the chat. Mm. Kathleen, it occurred to me that I don't know how to send myself love. Very important. Yeah, something that can be learned. We're certainly not taught to, most of us. Tiffany, I really connected with having the choice of which element to release it into, and the metaphor is cool. I do live retreats, and we actually, physically release these into the elements. Is Zena or Zena? I don't know how to pronounce. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Your apologies. You're with a client and just ended. You're happy that we're recording. Thank you. Absolutely. You'll get the whole recording. Glad you're here. Thank you for coming, even though it's later. Anybody else want to share? No pressure, but there's no right or wrong way to do this. Okay, well, feel free to plop anything you'd like into the chat. I know this is like deeply personal stuff. Oh, Caitlin's saying, thank you. Had tears, a lot of pain in your heart and solar plexus. Your mom projected her shame and rage onto you. Yeah, and I left home with 14, left home. Your words where I see you. Oh, beautiful. I can feel that. I can really feel that. Nancy, it gives you a new perspective of your mother and her relationship to you. Releasing to the fire and the ashes to the wind is freeing. Yeah, beautiful, you guys. Thank you so much. Okay. So I'm just going to shift now. I know that, everybody's got a lot on their plate. I'm going to just shift to a bit about money and the mother. And I do this in a very simple way. This is not a heavy sales pitch. I would love for anyone who this speaks to join us, though. This is a 6-week So today I'm giving a coupon. It's $433 at the moment, but I'm giving you a coupon code for $100 off, which was the early rate of $333. And there is a three pay plan as well. I really wanted this to be an easy yes for anybody who is drawn. This is a beautiful 6 week journey. It's 90 minutes a week for 6 weeks. There's a private Facebook group where I'm in there and we all talk in between. We just move through this process in a very deep and more nuanced way. We begin with more depth and detail around becoming your own mother, really anchoring into that. That needs to become your normal. It needs to become a practice. And simple. So, but powerful, but game changing. Again, I'm speaking from personal experience every bit as much as what I teach and support others to do. And so that's the first module. The second module is learning how to befriend money and really understanding your money attachment style and how to move from an insecure money attachment style to a secure attachment style. When we begin to relate to money like a beloved friend that we trust, that we pay attention to, that we are attuned to, and that we expect to be there for us when we need it, it changes everything. If you're a spiritual, in the spiritual community, and I lived in an ashram for 12 years, I'm as spiritual as they get. When I was around a lot of people whose mantra was money doesn't matter, money shouldn't matter, money's not spiritual. If you said that to a person, if you said that to a child, to anybody in your life, would they be magnetized to you or would they go running to find someone who they mattered to, right? So this is a living, dynamic, energetic relationship to money. It took me years to trust money, but I completely trust it now. And, I stabilized the minute I hit six figures, I stabilized there. It became my normal. And then I went beyond because I had worked for years at trusting money. So when it happened, I trusted it would stay there, just like you would a good friend, just like you would a partner who you believe is loyal and dedicated and devoted to you. These are the things that change everything. I can't stress it enough. So that's module two. Module three, we work with the queen archetype. The queen archetype is something that I've become really masterful with because it changed my life again. And it's everybody's favorite module. No matter what else we do, no matter how many massive breakthroughs people have, when we get to the queen, it's the favorite module. And so we work with the queen in module 3 and 4, actually. I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 and 4. And so we're working with the embodied disposition of the queen, which is stability, right? She doesn't overextend, she doesn't underextend. She's like the Rock of Gibraltar because she's lived through so many phoenix cycles. She wasn't born the queen. She's not a diva. She wasn't born a diva. She has become the queen through all of the descents that she's gone through and the rising transformed. Okay, so this is a very beautiful journey. We learn about the mental, emotional, and embodied disposition of the queen. We practice embodying her. She she has come into this stability which says all is well no matter what, because she's been through so many initiations that she has learned this in her, again, mind, heart, and body. And the queen, the reason I work with one of the many reasons I work with the queen in this program and in almost everything I do is because she is the one where you're able to separate, that helps you to separate from your conditioning. All of this mother stuff becomes conditioning. This is, the queen has gone through so much that she's sovereign, and sovereign doesn't mean we don't need anybody. It doesn't mean we don't listen to anybody. It doesn't mean any of that stuff. It means that we are free of our conditioning. We have become sovereign. We might visit our conditioning. We might be affected sometimes, but we are capable of separating from it and being who we truly are, who we have truly always been. And that's our sovereign nature, our sovereign self. I'm writing a book called Your Sovereign Nature. And so that is what we're doing here. We're separating from the toxic messaging that we received in Swallowed Whole. We're not separating from the love for our mother. We're not separating from any of that, but we're separating from the shame and what's holding us back, and that's the queen. And then in the last couple of sessions, we are embarking, and we've done all this inner work in the first four sessions, really deep, beautiful, powerful, game-changing inner work. The last two sessions, we embark on a beautiful feminine visioning process that I facilitate that really brings all of this into the tangible realm, right? Because again, two wings to the bird, the internal and the practical tangible. This is how we create. Manifestation loves clarity. Manifestation loves attention, and it requires both. It requires both the internal and the tangible and practical. And so in the last couple of sessions, we're doing this beautiful, creative, very kind of insight-based visioning process where you bring everything into onto earth and into a very kind of grounded place so that when you leave and you can it begins activating change immediately. We vision out a bit, and every time I do this with anybody, big chunks of what they're visioning come true for them way before they're scheduled to. So you leave this program. This is a very healing, very deep, very nuanced, beautiful journey, but you leave in a very different place with your dreams and your heartfelt desires and longings really being held in a very beautiful, permission-giving, loving way. Most of us who have mother wounds had the opposite experience growing up. And even though, we've done every affirmation in the world and all kinds of other stuff, it doesn't touch this until we go this deep, right? So this will not only change your relationship to money, it will change your relationship to happiness and to fulfillment and to love and to your well-being, so many things. So I invite you to join me for Money and the Mother. It's going to start in about a week and a half.